Hello and welcome to What the Fuck. Oh wait, we're meant to say WTF. WTF stories and advice. I'm Louisa.
And I'm Caroline. And what the fuck, Louisa? You're supposed to say WTF.
You're not meant to say what the fuck. What the fuck?
Well, that's what WTF means.
Yes. So. For all you old people out there.
Oh, Louisa.
Sorry. Didn't mean it. Last week I may have offended people from Palmerston North. So I apologise. Apologise for that.
Palmy.
PNC. And I apologise to everyone that I just swore.
Well,
we'll call it WTF from now on.
I offend people every day, so
you do.
I do. It's one of my specialties.
What about your favourite quote on our radio show?
I've been misquoted. Actually, yeah, I was talking about female orgasm, and what I said was, you have to be okay with playing with your... No, what I said was, your clit is your dick, and you have to be okay with playing with your dick. And that was what a male gay friend of mine told me, you know, because I was having trouble not having an orgasm from just penetrative sex, and he explained that. That's your dick, play with it. So the big boss misheard that and thought I said the clit is the new dick, right? And so now
it's a quote around the office. The clit is the new dick.
Remember that, people. The clit is the new dick. It's even better than a dick. It's got twice the nerve ending. So, haha.
Perfect. All right, should we get into it?
Yeah. So I was at a bit of a loss at what story to tell this week. And yesterday I was telling this story to a group of friends because I love to tell this story just to embarrass one of my best friends because it's about her. And, you know.
As you do.
As you do. So I'm not going to say her name, and I'm going to try not to give away too many details so you can identify her, but it's a great story. So she went through a terrible divorce, right? And, yeah, was not that happy. She was the one who ended it, but still it really affected her, and she had young kids, and... So I'm trying to cheer her up. She actually lived in a different city at the time, so I flew her up, and we went out on the town. And by 11, we were blottoed.
You were shit-faced.
We were shit-faced. And we were two single moms, so we were poor at the time. And so we take the bus home, as you do, you know, real classy. And so we get on the bus, we sit down, and then this really hot guy gets on the bus. And he's like young, hot. He is dark. He looks like he's like Italian or something like that. And he sits down next to us. He's definitely got an accent. I think he was actually Persian, but very hot guy. And so he starts talking to us and definitely kind of trying to chat us up. And we were like, we're old enough to be your mother. And I'm kind of brushing him off. I have a boyfriend at the time. But my girlfriend like elbows me in the ribs and she's like, I need this.
You're just cock blocking her.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, okay. And she's never one to be like casual hookups or, you know, she hadn't been with anyone since her marriage broke up. So I'm like, okay, I won't be a cock blocker. I'm going to support her in this. So we get off the bus and she invites him over for a cup of tea. And he's like, oh, I'd love a cup of tea. And so we get off.
Cup of tea?
I know. I'm like, how Kiwi is that? Like, yeah. Americans, we would not invite someone over.
You'd be like, you want to come over for some shots?
Yeah. Come over and have a drink. Yeah. So, no, we'd more like say, you want to come over and fuck? That's basically American.
So blunt, straight to the point.
Yeah. We get off the bus. We start walking. She runs off, like runs ahead. And I'm like, what? Where are you going? And yeah, so I'm walking with this guy going, you know, and I don't know where she's gone. And we turn around the corner. She jumps out of the bushes and she's like, ah! And she's acting like a monster. And I'm going,
my God.
Oh, and she's wearing like, what are those? A tartan plaid kind of mini skirt.
Yeah.
And she's dressed super cute. She's wearing tartan plaid mini skirt. She's wearing thigh high black stockings, big like kind of boots to go with it. Super cute. Looks hot, but she jumps out being a fucking monster. And we're like, okay. And I'm going, this is not how you seduce a man. Like, stop it. Yeah. And then she's like skipping along, like yelling some like nursery rhyme. And then she disappears again. And we walk by and she's pissing on the driveway. just squatting, like right there, right in the open. Totally taking
my
piss.
God.
And it's like, oh my God. And she just kept, well, she didn't keep pissing the whole way home, but she just kept like hiding and jumping out. And she was like acting like a monster.
If I was him, I would have been out of there.
Oh, and he's still going along with it. And I'm just like, okay. So we get to my house. She runs into the spare room where she's staying and locks the door. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Okay. So I'm like, dude, you cannot just leave me here with this young guy who's like just been offered sex on a platter, which I don't think she's ever done in her entire life. And then obviously she chickened out. And so I'm like, fuck you, bitch. So I pick the lock, I get in. This girl is like the tidiest person you've ever met, right? She never makes a mess, but she dumped every single thing in her suitcase out and was hiding under the clothes on the bed.
Oh my God.
And so I'm like digging through the clothes. I find her face and she's like, the fairies are in the trees. Do you see the fairies? I'm like, dude, we did not even do any drugs. Like, how are you seeing fairies
like,
right
what
now?
What is this?
Oh, so like, and he comes in and he's like, hello, hi. And he's like trying to talk to her. And I'm like, dude, it's not going to happen. Right? Like she's
not keen
yeah,
anymore.
Well, and she's too off her face. Like that would be wrong of me to let like this guy have his way with her. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, nah, out. She's obviously too past it. I don't think she'd had a drink in like 6 months. Right? So she's, yeah. So we come out and he's like, oh, well, do I still get that cup of tea? And I'm like,
like, no, you do not get a cup
well,
of tea.
I felt kind of bad and he's a nice guy. And I'm like, okay, I'll make you a cup of tea and then you have to go. And then he's like, actually, to be honest, I have a girlfriend, but, you know, we have an open relationship and she really wants to have a threesome with a woman. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's nice. Well, I'm a sex therapist, right? So I don't really give a shit, whatever. And he's like, do you want to see a photo of her? I can show you a photo. And I was like, okay. So I give him my laptop. He logs in to his Gmail or whatever it was. And he's like, oh, yeah, she's really pretty. And there's a picture of her completely naked, spread eagle, fingering herself. And I'm like, oh, yeah, she looks really pretty. And
like, that is not what you show someone.
And, yeah, and he's like, oh, I really want to have anal sex with her, but she hasn't let me. And so I'm like, oh, well, just making sure that she has a lot of alcohol and you get some lube or you do that. I'm going to give him tips on how to have anal sex with her, which I don't know what the hell, but I had a few drinks as well. And I'm a sex therapist, so if people ask questions like that, I'm going to give them. And then, yeah, so he shows me several naked pictures of her, and I'm just like going, I cannot believe this. Like, what the hell?
A cup of tea with the Persian man, seeing his naked girlfriend.
Yeah.
What a Friday night.
Ah, yeah. And so I'm like, okay, you got to go now. And so the poor guy stands up, and he's got a heart on. Like, his pants are standing straight out. He's got the worst tent pole you've ever seen. And he's like, thanks. And he like he bends over and like walks out. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, no, out.
Get out, take your cup of tea and leave.
Yeah. And so he gets out. And the next morning, my friend doesn't remember anything. I'm like,
nothing.
What the fuck? Yeah. And I had a boyfriend, right? So I call him. I tell him the story. I thought it was funny. He was not amused. No. He did not think that was funny at all.
He did not at all.
I'm not hiding anything. I didn't do anything. Yeah, he was pissed. And that kind of like, we broke up soon after anyways. But yeah, I was like, what? I didn't do anything wrong at all. And he's like, you advised a guy on how to have anal sex with his girlfriend. I'm like, well...
But you're a sex therapist. That's your job.
I know. I'm like, I can't help it if people ask me questions.
You got a free session.
Exactly. So anyways, that's what not to do if you want to hook up. That's my advice. Don't act like a monster. Don't piss just right in front of everyone. Like, it's okay to pee, but you know... And maybe don't bury yourself in a pile of clothes and talk about fairies in the tree. Yeah.
I always seem to get myself in situations with like, whoever I'm dating.
Yeah.
I'll always be like, on a night out, can you come to the bathroom with me?
Yeah.
And then I'll pee, but turn the tap on.
Oh, yeah.
I'll only do that when I'm drunk. Like, like inappropriate, but it'll always happen. I'm like, this is not what you should be doing when you're dating someone. Like, yes, when you're going out and you're like at that stage, you can pee in front of each other.
Oh, this is like first date.
Not first date, like sitting down having a drink. Like, hey, I'm going to the bathroom. You want to come? No, like a while back, I was at a gig and I was like, you mind? Like, we went to the bathroom. Turn the tap on, chatting away. I'm peeing. We're yarning. Back out to the gig. I'm like,
nice.
This is probably why I don't have a boyfriend right now.
Hey, some guys might be into it.
They keep peeing in front of them.
Wow.
I had a work colleague, speaking of like first dates, the things not to do or tell someone. She said she went on a date with this guy, and the first thing he said to her was like, look, I just need to be honest with you, I've got ball bearings in my penis. Like, why do you need to disclose that on the first date?
Yeah, I've never dated a guy with ball bearings in his penis.
Neither. I don't even know what they are. I don't even know what they do or anything. It's like a piercing, eh?
It's like a piercing, but I guess they do like an implant under the skin.
What? Why do you need that? You don't.
It's like ribbed rubbers, or you know what I mean, like textured.
Is that what it's like?
Condoms. Well, I don't know. I've never done it,
Whatever.
but I think all I think is small cock. That's what I think.
Really?
Well, that'd be my guess. If you feel like you need to attach,
that just telling someone that on the first date just puts them off.
I think you should tell that to them on the phone before you even meet them. Because
should be in your bio on your Instagram. I have ball bearings.
And not on my
balls. Do not approach if not keen.
Well, I think he doesn't want to get rejected. But I think, if you've got something in your closet. He just
wait until like something was going to happen? Because obviously nothing happened after he told her that.
No, I guess they're trying to be upfront, but
I went on a date a couple of weeks ago, and the guy, last week, and the guy told me that he was moving back to Aussie on Sunday, and I went on a date with him on Friday. I was like, why would you do that?
That's not a date, sweetie. That's called.
Did he want something else?
Oh, yeah.
Because I can just trust you. He came to the wrong girl. I actually eventually ended up ghosting him and told him that I was going home, and I proceeded to go meet my work friends and went to town.
I got to the point when I was dating where I would just interview them before I even met them. I would
hand them out.
I made them
personality tests.
Oh, I did. Psychological tests on their attachment type in relationships. Absolutely.
If I had given one of those, he would have been like, I'm leaving on Sunday. There's something else that I'm here for. Obviously, I didn't pick up on that.
No. I think, people need to be more honest, don't they?
All he got was a expensive cocktail bill and a kiss on the cheek, goodbye, sayonara,
thanks, bye.
Arrivederci, ciao. Enjoy Aussie.
Fuck off.
I'm obsessed at the moment with the Netflix series Narcos. Have you seen it?
I think I watched the first one. I need to watch it.
You need to get into it. It is addictive. Like, all my friends, we all watch it, and I'm just obsessed with the Colombian drug lords now.
Yeah.
But I found this article, and it's just like mental how much money he had, how much power, like the facts around him are just insane. He obviously ended up getting killed, but he just ran Colombia. Like, he was not the president, but he may as well have been, because it was so corrupt. Everything he did, all the police were on his side, like the government, everything. Like, he just had
bought it all.
So much money to not brainwash. What's the word?
Buy people?
Buy people, yeah. So, these are some of the facts. So, Escobar spent around $2,500 a month on rubber bands used to hold his money. Like, what the hell?
Oh my! Just to wrap his money up.
Yeah,
Holy
just
shit.
$2,500 a month on rubber bands to hold the money together.
Oh my God! I wish I had that problem.
Me too. In an attempt to change the law of extradition, so that because they wanted to get him taken back to America, so that they could actually charge him with all these mental things that he'd done. Escobar offered to pay Colombia's debt, so the whole of Colombia's debt, an estimated $10 billion.
Oh my God!
Yeah. So he just had money galore, and people just worshipped him. Like, he was a full-blown god. He'd walk around the streets and little kids would be like, Pablo, Pablo.
Here's $1 million.
Yeah. Escobar is said to have smuggled cocaine into plane tires. Pending how much product pilots flew, they could earn as much as $500,000 per day. That's the pilot, just for flying it back and forth.
Well, was it Made in America, that one with Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
I loved that movie. Oh my, he just couldn't even bury his money enough. Like,
he was one of the pilots.
Oh.
So he was earning ridiculous amounts.
There's good money in coke.
he brought a Learjet just for flying his cash, getting that back and forth, because he was sending all the cocaine to Miami and New York.
Yeah.
And then there started to be beef between, because there was originally guys from New York who were dealing with cocaine there, and then he tried to get on the scene. So then they had the medallion, another cartel. They started having beefs, and then there are all these other issues. Jesus. He is responsible for killing 4,000 people.
Oh my God.
Including 200 judges, 1,000 police workers, journalists, and government officials.
Oh my God.
He just...
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Like, he had so much power that he would just order people to do this, blow things up.
Colombian necktie.
Like, he blew up plane, like, just mental. That would never happen nowadays, but back in the 70s.
Holy shit.
So in the late 1980s, authorities seized some of his stuff, which was including 142 planes, 20 helicopters, 32 yachts, 141 homes and offices.
141?
Yeah. Yeah, and at the height of his drug trade, he was smuggling up to 15 tons of coke a day.
Oh my God.
Like that, imagine that now. Obviously, it could never happen, but... And it's not even that...
Coke was everywhere when I was growing up.
Oh, exactly. It's not even that he couldn't get it past people. It's because everyone was on his side. He just paid everyone off.
I think they should legalize drugs. I honestly do.
Well, I swear, like, half the people in the world earn their money from it.
People are going to do it no matter what. So you might as well legalize it, control it. Look at Amsterdam. Like, they've decriminalized drugs and they have some of the lowest addiction rates in the world.
Yeah.
Like, California.
People want what they can't have.
They've decriminalized weed. It's like they make billions from it.
Yeah.
Like New Zealand, it's a big topic of interest. And people are all anti it. People are going to smoke weed no matter what.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, with New Zealand, they would save $500 million a year just in the court and police costs and, like, not putting people in jail for it. So it's like, let alone what they could charge in taxes on it. So it's ridiculous that they don't.
And medical weed. Like, it would help so many people.
I think they're on the way for that. But you know who's against weed being legalized? It's not just, like, the conservatives. It's alcohol, tobacco, and big pharma, because that's who's going to have their profit cut into.
Yeah, because it's a competitor for them, basically.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think I need to move back to California.
And at the peak of his earnings, he estimated to have $30 billion.
Nice. And back then, that was like... I don't know. That was so much. Yeah. You know who they say the richest man in the world is?
Who?
Who do you think?
No idea.
Putin.
Really?
Yeah.
The Russian president.
Apparently Putin is the richest man in the world for people who
Why?
know. Because he's robbing the country blind with oil and all of that.
Yeah.
It's what do they call it? A kleptocracy? I can't even say it. Kleptocracy? Is their government. They're basically robbing the government. And so they say that he makes like $150,000 a year, technically, but he just puts it all through shell companies and crazy. But you ask anyone who's like way high up, and I've got some pretty interesting clients, they all say Putin is the richest man.
Really?
Yeah.
But very D-low.
Ooh, but I didn't say that. I've got another scary story for you, Louisa.
Oh, no.
Do you like sleeping?
Another night not sleeping.
Yeah, this one is, this terrorized me for a while. And this would have been, so when my eldest daughter was 3, she all of a sudden, out of the blue, started having nightmares. And she would start screaming, right? And you go into her room, and she'd be standing on her bed with her arms out, her eyes open, and she'd be like, leave me alone. And she'd be like pushing someone away. Stay away from me. Don't hurt me. And she would be hysterical. And you could not wake her up. Like 15 minutes this would go on for, and we're shaking her and going, it's okay. And she just wouldn't, no matter what. It would take ages. You'd almost have to like throw her in the shower or something. And this would happen like 2 or 3 times a week.
Oh my God.
Went on. And it's like, what the hell? I took her to the doctor. I didn't know what to do. And I'm like, has she been molested? And we don't know. But she's like, was never out of my sight. So it was like, how is something happening? And so this probably went on for about 6 months, and I was training to be a hypnotherapist, and so because she was having these nightmares, I decided to move my 2 girls into the same room, and I thought maybe that would help with her nightmares as well, and I was going to use the other girls' room as my office and see clients. And so I moved them in the same room, and the first incident that something was a bit weird so I'd moved her in, so I'm painting the office, and my husband was out of town, so I'm by myself, and so I'm painting. The door that I swear to God was shut all the way swings open, and the room is like freezing cold, and I swear to God I felt like someone was standing there in the doorway, and I was like, get the fuck out. Is what I said it out loud, because remember I talked about that whole
you gotta
that
talk
technique,
to the
and be like, I'm gonna raise your ass. The door slams back shut, and I was just like, what the fuck? So I'm like, okay, I just imagine that, or it's a breeze, or, and I'm kind of telling myself that there's nothing there. Both girls start screaming in the other room. And so I go in, and they're both standing on their beds, crying with their arms out, doing the same thing at the same time. And I'm like, oh my God. And the room feels ice cold. And I was just like, I'm like, I honestly have goosebumps right now. It never had been before. And, I never had any experiences like that in that house. And so I'm trying to wake them up, and they're both like having the same dream at the same time and describing the same thing. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on? And so that happened like 2 or 3 times. And I remember telling my husband, he was like, whatever, and he saw it, and he's like, oh my God. And then I thought of that woman, Ellie, who's the one who I went to. I think do I tell the story in the first one or the second one? Where I saw them, when I had that dream, and I went to see her, and she saw the guy from my dream standing next to me. So I was like, I'm going to go to Ellie and see what she says. So I go to her, and I tell her what's happening, and she's like, you have a spirit portal that's opened up in your house. And I'm like, what? And she's like, what have you done that you have suddenly opened up a portal? She's like, I can see it. She described it, and she hadn't been to my house before. She described the room that it was in, and she was like completely right, exact, and it was in the girl's room. And I'm like, and then I was like, oh, well, I had a psychic party like probably a few weeks before it happened. And what had happened was I had been having a good friend of mine died when she was 29 of ovarian cancer. And I started having these dreams about her. And in the dream, she'd be like sitting on my bed, and she says, you need to go see a medium. And I'd be like, whatever. And then, but I had that dream like 5 nights in a row. And finally I'm like, okay, fuck, I don't want to keep having this dream. So I look, and I was like, okay, what do you do? So I Google, and this guy comes up, and it shows that he does parties. And I'm like, perfect, I'll just have a psychic party. This guy comes, and he blew everyone's mind. This guy, his name's Caroline Cranshaw. He's quite a famous psychic medium. And it was unbelievable. Like, just names, dates, how they died.
Really?
Their dogs. Like, and half the people there were like not even believing, but they thought, well, we'll go along and it'll be funny, right? Mm-hmm. Every single person left like a total believer. Well, it started not long after that. And so I tell her, oh, I had this psychic party, and he read all these spirits. She's like, how do you think all those spirits get to your house? Like, they don't just like pop down from heaven. They actually have to like come through the other side. So they'll come through a portal. So if you bring a whole bunch through at once, it opens up something really big. And I'm like, I know. So don't have freaking...
Never have a psychic party.
Don't do it. I will never do it at a place. Yeah, no. And so anyways, I'm like, well, how the hell do I close it? And she's like, oh, well, what you can do is you can do a salt and a pentagram, and then get a gold ring and draw a pentagram and do all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, and like burn sage. So I did all this stuff. The dreams didn't stop. And I'm going, oh my God, do I like need to get like someone in? And I was talking to a girlfriend of mine who, she's an acupuncturist, and she's quite psychic. And I was telling her about it. And she's like, oh no. She's like, I had that happen to me. I had this apartment in Paris, and I bought this rug. And it turns out it was a Muslim prayer mat. And every night, like, she'd have this dream about this Muslim man popping out of the rug and yelling at her. So she got out of the rug, and then the dude still was there. And yeah, so she didn't even know. She was like, nice rug, cool. so she said that she called her like guru or master, her acupuncture, her Chinese guy who trained her, who was like in his 80s. And he told her to get 9 grapefruit, put it in a bowl, and then put it, like, walk around all the corners of your house, and then put it where you think that, like, the spirit is or the portal is. So I did
9
that.
grapefruit.
9 grapefruit.
What a weird thing.
I know. And I don't even like grapefruit. But anyways, I do it. Never had the dream again. Like, it just stopped.
What the fuck? What
Just
does
stopped.
grapefruit have to do with it?
Yeah. And you'd ask them what the dream was, and they would say that little boys in old clothes, and they didn't really have the language for this, right? Because they're young, but they're like old clothes and they look dirty, come out of the ground and they say, "Get out of here. This is our house." And so that they had the same dream over and over, and it was these little boys telling them to get out of their house. And so,
do you know who used to live in the house?
well, it's really funny is like I didn't know, a few years later, I went to some vitamin shop, right? And the woman starts talking to me, and she had said she knew I was a hypnotherapist, and she's like, "Oh, do you live around here?" And I said, "Yeah, I just live on Long Drive." And she's like, "Oh, I used to live in the original homestead on this road," and starts talking about it. And it turns out it was the house in front of my house. And she's like, "That is that house," and I think it probably was torn down or something, and there was a new one built from when she was little, and she would have been like in her 70s. She said that was one of the original houses of the area. And so she's like, "You actually, where you live is like right by where one of the oldest properties in St. Heliers." Yeah, so it was interesting. So I thought, oh, that's interesting. So there definitely could be, yeah, we're talking like 1800s, and yeah.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
it could have been where, or would have been where supposedly this little boy's house was.
Well, could be. I don't really know. All I know is I did 9 grapefruit and it stopped. And I tried all other like, sage and this and salt and
God, I can't believe the psychic party opened up a portal.
I know. So people talk about they're going to do that. I say, don't do it in your house. Nah, forget it.
Go to a
It's not worth it.
or hire out a bar.
Yeah. Do it in a park.
Open a spiritual portal somewhere else.
I know, yeah.
We don't want that here.
Or have it
at
at
all.
someone's house you really don't like.
Yeah. Hey, let's have a psychic party at yours.
Free. Well, yeah. Like that's not very nice, but it was terrifying.
I feel like you've had so many spiritual like things happen to you in your life that if that anything ever happened to me, I just would never sleep again. I'd have insomnia for the rest of my life.
Well, I did have insomnia for a very long time. Yeah. So, but I think I come across all kinds of weird stuff all the time with clients, and I think I was just meant to have those types of experiences because otherwise I'd be like, that's weird.
Yeah.
You're just imagining it. And
yeah, you kind of like for your job, you need to know and believe and stuff like that because you must have so many people come to you and say, I'm having this. And if you didn't believe in it, then you wouldn't be able to help them.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think a lot of stuff, it's not just mental health issues, it's spiritual issues. Like I work with a lot of people that have got like multiple personality, or they call it DID, dissociative identity disorder. And the crazy thing is, a lot of times what I find is it's not just that they have split personality. When you do this type of therapy where you hypnotize them and you talk to these different parts, they say they're a spirit that's attached to the person. And then you ask that one to go, you take them through this process, and their multiple personalities is gone.
Really?
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, I did it with like a few people when I wasn't even a therapist for that long, but I had trained in this parts therapy where you work with the different egos. Didn't even know what I was doing. And it was going away. So I had the psychiatrist sending me tons of people that, he was like, and I was like...
So it's like those people who have, split person bipolar.
And sometimes it truly is just trauma. And maybe that's just their subconscious mind's way of thinking about it but it was interesting was it would just go. But I would say 50% of the cases, it seemed to be, they would say, because you ask them, when did you come to be with them? And what you mean when you ask them that is more like, when did you develop? What trauma caused this, right? And they're like, I attached them when they're in the hospital. And I died, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, yeah. And a lot of them, they'll have a lot of suicidal thoughts. And so, and it's that voice telling them to kill themselves and when they say, it's like, well, why are you doing that? They'll say that it's because they want to die. They want to pass over, but they don't know how to do it because they're like stuck with this person.
Oh my God.
I do have a very open mind, but not so open my brain falls out, right?
Yeah.
But I think sometimes this is ways that people maybe create metaphors so they can deal with what they have going on. Who knows if it's actually true? I never say this is actually what it is, but I know that that's what the person's experiencing. And so that's the kind of metaphor or what I'm going to work within that. I'm not going to tell them they're wrong or, if you work within that, it actually tends to work.
Heal them and sort them.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
Crazy. I have so many crazy stories. Yeah. I've argued with supposed dead ghosts that are attached to people and who have threatened to then bounce into my children or and I'm I have tapes of me arguing with and their voices will change like crazy. And when you bring them, what I find when you bring them out of those states with the people that have supposedly had spirits, they won't remember anything. Whereas
that's creepy. I'm literally just imagining me talking right now and then going
They do. And it is, their voice will change. And next podcast, I'll tell you the story of the first time I ever came across that because I had goose pimples on my nose. I read a book on this type of therapy. It's
have you ever done an Ouija board?
Ouija board?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yes, I have. And I always threaten my kids never to touch them. I think they're freaking evil. But I did when I was younger. I don't know.
I always wanted to do one. I'm not going to. But
don't do it.
God, it's too.
No,
I'm not going to. I'd weep. I'd just start crying.
Louisa,
don't
kill yourself.
Episode 6 is finished. Oh no, wait. 6?
Yeah, 6 or 6th. I know. How did a Kiwi say 6?
6th.
See, or is it Australian?
The Aussie who I went on the date with told me that I have the strongest Kiwi accent he's ever heard.
Really?
I was like, well, that's just rude. You're making me sound like I'm a hick or something. He
Better than having an Aussie one.
He said that I say wahiki. I was like, well, I
don't. Oh, I prefer the Kiwi to the Aussie, to be honest. But I think it all depends on where you're from.
Yeah.
It's funny, people here always say, oh, you have such a strong American accent, but then when I talk to you...
No, yours is a nice American accent, it's half Kiwi, half American.
And then Americans are like, which way is it? I don't know, I can't even fucking think now. My brain just died. My brain just dead. No.
Well, that's episode 6. We hope you liked it. Bit of cocaine talk, dating disasters, peeing in the street.
I'll tell you about next time. About how I was a cocaine dealer when I was a teenager.
Oh, I want to hear about that. Yes.
I didn't get high on my own supply, though. I'll tell you that. That's the bad.
You were the Pablo Escobar of California.
Oh, yes. I was sent to a school for juvenile delinquents, which is...
Oh, my God, we need to talk about this. It's hilarious.
Which is the worst thing you can do for a juvenile delinquent, because you all get together and you learn how to commit crimes even worse.
Oh, my God. I can't wait for that.
Let's make the whole podcast on a shank out of a toothbrush, let me tell you. No, or a shiv, or whatever they talk about it.
Okay, you need to subscribe, because that next episode is going to be bloody good. Also, if you want to follow us on Instagram, I'm at Louisa DD, Luisa
Double D. No?
Definitely not. I wish.
Maybe one day. No.
You never know.
Not that that's what makes you attractive. And I'm, what am I? Just a Caroline Cranshaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And subscribe, download, follow us on Facebook.
Like, review.
Anything. We want to hear.
We need friends.
Download us, bitches.
Do it.
Sorry, I feel like I've been swearing.
I'm going to hypnotize you. You will subscribe. You will be compelled to do a 5-star rating and talk about how amazing this podcast is. Do it now.
Do it.